Be a stupid bitch.
We are in control now.
Ding dong. Hello?
سبحان فالق الإصباح.
Yes, y'all, rise and praise, laborers. There's no days off for you, not here at HMG, because we don't sleep, and nobody's gonna creep on us, infidels. It's Hacker Hamid and the Vet, and I call this official session of the Discipline Committee to order. And who's next in our targets? It's time to find out. So straighten up and fly right, because your job might just be on the line. Here on the Monday Locker Room, channelattitude.com. YOLO! Oh, yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. Hopefully you're having a good one this weekend. You got that extra day off, or actually you're probably not if you're in this country and somebody's cracking whip on you, making sure you're out there doing some work one way or the other, whether it's your boss or you're out cutting the grass and the real boss is telling you to clean up the house. But we're back here, you guys. What a crazy, crazy week. Possibly, to go down as one of the most insane weeks in wrestling history, with tragic losses and big egos and handed down punishments and crowds going nuts, man. But there's nobody else I'd rather break it down with here on Labor Day. I can't say thank you enough. One of the hardest laborers here at HMG. You've seen him in the Next Level review. You see him on the Impact Attack. He's been hanging out on, I call it Phillision now instead of Wreckage. I like that. I think Phillision is a better name for the whole show. But you never know where he's going to pop up out of the foxhole with the sniper rifle. He's the sure shot. He's my man, the Vet, back in the house on Monday Locker Room. Good morning, Vet.
That's always watching. That's always watching. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, man, I'm good. I mean, there was no time off for me in the cannabis war. Things are going to be really heating up here in the next week to 12 days, really, with court cases and private meetings with lawyers and judges to try and advance our cause to get our dispensary open. So I think I put together a 61-page dossier or 61 file dossier, probably 150 pages of everything of our process. So there really was not that there ever is, any weekends or holidays off here at HMG for me, man. And it was a lot of work, but I feel like I left no stone unturned. So I'm doing everything I can on my end to try and ensure success. And all you can do is hope to rely on, put in the work, and reap the reward. You know what I mean? So just any fiery hoop to jump through, I want to make sure I'm covered in Kevlar and diving through, getting my dive shit in, man. So busy, but trying to walk the dogs of war and not eat too shitty and get ready. I've been working out an hour a day pretty hard this weekend. That's just an hour, but I'm trying to push myself. Just 12 days away. Blaze Aram and I, the Sons of Allah, defend our tag team titles. So just another day at the compound, Daddy. How about yourself? How you doing, man?
Doing well. Staying busy, like you said. There's I was on Collision yesterday, or not Collision. I was not on Collision. I was on Wreckage to talk about Collision with the guys, and I had the invite to do a couple other shows, but couldn't make it. Had to get some sleep in somewhere, even though I was still watching. So don't get it confused. Yeah. But the West Coast installation is fully operational once again. So that's all. We're all good there. No more absences. We're full speed ahead from now.
No, not a problem, man. You do so much around here. I appreciate you, and everybody. You're obviously a top talent because everybody wants you on their show to do the run-ins. There's no doubt about that. So, yeah, man, but I get it. You got to recharge. I'm looking forward to, what are we, 21 days away now? I'll be taking off for anniversary for 5 days. So we got to get that schedule right too before we go down there or down there and do a quick recharge, man. And hopefully by that time, a lot of my cannabis stress and whatnot, I'll have a little bit clearer view of it. And if not, then we just stay here in the trenches, firing shots back and forth, man. So I see the chat room filling up already, 23 strong. So we'll give them the 2-3 bing. Here at Ben Hameen YouTube channel, twitch.tv/Hameen Media. I did some watch alongs for Payback. So that was a good time. And also hanging with the SmackDown Live self-help was a good time on Friday night. So, while the wives are away, was just doing work, and it was fun to decompress. And obviously all the big news that was breaking down, between Wembley Stadium and last night, really, it was just a crazy ride. I'd say tough to look back. I think since Brawl Out versus the Bucks, this is definitely the hottest week in wrestling. And before that, I try and think back even what it would have been before that, whether it was politics or loss of personalities, so to go from the tragedy of Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt and Bob Barker and those lamenting feelings into fuck that, it's still all about ego. And we're gonna get even we're gonna turn that up a notch and disrespect the locker room, the business, and show that we can do whatever we want, apparently, in our own minds until reality strikes, man. So I don't know. I can't think of another week so tumultuous as this, Vet.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tumultuous, but it also seems so petty at the same time. Like leading up to Punk's termination, everything was just like a little like nitpicky, little tattletale-y little piece of news. Like, it just seemed like when you really go back and look at the totality of it, we kind of can get the whole picture, and it makes it seem like this is kind of a big deal only because people like us, like you and I, we look at it like, well, big deal, egos in wrestling thing, fights in the locker rooms, like these things happen. And we don't think that much of it, but this is a whole generation or whatever after us who just not used to this kind of stuff, or they know about it and can take advantage of it, because this definitely seemed like a concerted effort, or like, that like, Jack Perry is like put in a hitman situation, like this sort of thing, like go in there and poke the bear. You do it, kid. He knows what we're going to do, but maybe you still got a little bit of, your hands aren't dirty yet. So maybe he won't see it coming from you, like that's, it kind of feels like that to me. But a lot of people that are wrestling fans that have become wrestling fans sort of in this, the PWG generation, they seem very surprised about all this. They seem like this is first time evers type deals. Like these things have never happened before. And we just didn't have stooges. We didn't have multiple stooges. There was like one Dave Meltzer and then maybe a little later a Wade Keller. We didn't have the Saps. We didn't have the Sharers. We didn't have the other stooges to just constantly get fed this bullshit information and then feed it back to the fans so that they can decide what they want to believe or whose side they want to take.
Well, as usual, that you're spot on in inside my head with the foresight and the vision of everything that's going on, because you're speaking to the actual incident and a bigger argument, of what it is in the crowd and how they don't understand what's going on. But one guy who does understand what's going on most of the time is Johnny Publix. I might have put out a couple feelers. Morning, Johnny. Happy Labor Day. Good to see you, buddy.
Bro, am I getting officed right now? I just hit this link. I walk in here and I got the vet and Big Ben sitting me down. Welcome to the discipline committee. We've got a couple things we need to discuss with you. Kangaroo court, brother.
Man, kangaroo kicks for everybody.
Kangaroo kicks.
Yeah, man. But that was just making a great point, as he always does. And good morning, happy Labor Day, John, to you, by the way. Thanks for doing the run in, buddy.
I'm excited now.
Oh, I'm pumped. I got the pre-workout going. I'm about halfway through, and then I got the link, right. And now I got the vet, so I don't need to finish that. I'm amped up, brother.
Nice. That was saying that, you know, these PWG based crowds don't understand the pettiness of what can go down in a locker room full of egos, and they're shocked by this type of behavior. And I even feel that it's my little wrestling academy, because their hearts are in the right place, but a couple of them make a lot of moves that they should probably check with the big dog first, and they think that it's going to be all right. You know what I mean? And then they're like, oh, I didn't know. And what? I don't. And they're all have a positive attitude, and they good brother each other, but they good brother each other over the wrong shit that's going to get them heat, and they don't even realize it. So I get to the point of like, I really need to crush these guys nuts, but then I go, I don't want to step on their dreams and be the asshole. But if I don't, I'm not preparing them for situations where they're going to do something stupid, misrepresent themselves, misrepresent me. And they think they're just doing it because they're nice guys and that's what everybody wants. And we're just having fun with this shit, when other guys take this shit deadly seriously, and you're walking into a bear trap and putting your head in there going, hey, what the fuck's this? And then when it closes on you, they'd have no idea how or why they got there. So I'm in a bit of a conundrum at the lowest levels with this same type of strange divide and mentality that you laid out there, Vet, of what is going on versus how the real players in this shit deal with it.
Let's hear what Hardnet has to say, because I mean, I already said my piece. I think well, I would just say to Ben, I would say to you that you just have to explain it to them and just point out the things that they'll have to watch out for in the future. You don't have to be a dick to them, but you just have to prepare them for the dicks and let them know where the dicks are coming, what holes they're aiming for, and all those kind of things. Mm. So just that's all I would say to you. It's not that hard, you know, and they'll get it or they won't. I mean, it'll be a natural selection process, but I'm more interested in hearing John's thoughts on the whole thing.
I just got to tune my shit down because it pisses me off and I want to stomp them because I get fired up and go, what the fuck are you guys doing? You know what I mean? I have to draw that back. John, everything that's gone down this weekend with Phil Lision, you know, and more that keeps leaking out here. What do you think was going down, man?
Man, just to touch on what you were saying about this current generation, and I think a lot of this and everything that's coming out this weekend and the last couple weeks, last couple months, I mean, for the last calendar year, right? It's been like a full year of this whole feud going. It's got a lot to do with people never having to deal with ever actually being in any kind of real fight, any kind of real conflict, any kind of real kind of turmoil, you know, whether it's in business, it's in life, it's in relationships. The world is to steal one of my tag team partners' phrases, it's the iPod generation that's coming through now, and it's a completely different generation. They've been raised differently. They've been taught that words have more weight than any kind of actions. They've been taught that, you know, there's no reason to be hitting other people. There's no reason for conflict. There's no reason for this, but they all like to needle each other. And then when it gets to the point of, okay, here's the catalyst, this is going to set everything off, none of them want anything to do with actually any kind of conflict. They just want to, everybody's got to be the victim. And then everybody's also got to have the ooh, look, I got him in trouble, like tattling on the kid in you know, in preschool class that you just saw do something wasn't supposed to do. And it's like they're more interested in getting that moment than actually doing what's right, standing up for something and what they believe in, and just actually coming across like a man, you know? So you're lacking a lot of men in that locker room. And talking about it with my friend, he's my tag team partner, Blake, he's a UFC veteran, you know? And for him, when I talk to him about these things, he knows CM Punk, he's met him a few times. And, you know, like, Blake was on The Ultimate Fighter when The Ultimate Fighter first started, and it was a completely different world. Now it's a completely different Ultimate Fighter, right? But the UFC's grown over the last 20 years to where, like, the guys that have fought in the UFC, they have been in real fights, right? Like, at some point, whether they're good or bad,
they've been in real fights and they've trained for that kind of conflict. These guys in wrestling locker rooms, I've been in wrestling locker rooms where I'm telling you, I could add up 3 or 4 locker rooms and maybe not have one person that's been in a real fight inside that entire locker room. And I'm not talking about like sanctioned underneath an athletic commission. I'm talking about we're stepping outside and one of us is gonna one of us going to sleep. You know what I mean? We're going until somebody's done. And these guys have never been in a conflict like that. These guys have been protected from those kind of situations their whole life. They've been babied. They've been helicopter parented. You know, they have a hard time accepting criticism and any kind of negative, criticism that you can give them. So when you come at them with these things, they get super defensive, but then it leads to a place where there's going to be no resolution unless they get like their little victim pity party. And a guy like CM Punk, whether you look at him in his UFC career as a failure, like the guy trained and the guy lost at the highest level possible. Not one person that you know of on television that's not named Matt Riddle, that is not named Bobby Lashley, that is not named, I mean, even like, I love Bobby, dude. Bobby's one of my like best friends in the business, man. I love that guy, you know, like he never fought at the highest possible level possible in the UFC. You know, he's fought in Strikeforce, Bellator, those places, which is, I mean, they gave Bobby some real fights. But dude, like when you're fighting at a UFC level, it is a completely different thing. And whether you look at Mickey Gall or you look at even that bum Mike Jackson, like they're guys that they're going to beat 99.99% of the people walking this earth. So when you put CM Punk into a locker room with a bunch of guys that have never been in a fight, now he is the alpha, okay? Now he is the only guy in there that actually knows how to handle himself in a hand-to-hand combat situation. Not one of those other guys back there has ever been in a fight. And from what I heard from firsthand accounts of that all-in first fight that they had, CM Punk was throwing the dogs and whooping ass left and right like it was out of a Jackie Chan movie. And these other guys had absolutely no idea how to handle themselves. And it was just an overall, dude, it was one-way traffic. You know what I mean? Like they don't know how to throw punches. They don't know how to do any of this stuff, but they needled the guy to get him to that point to snap. And they knew who they were messing with. You know what I mean? Now you go fast forward and you get the kid Jungle Boy, who I had heard nothing but negative things about for everything that he's done in this business, whether it was the way he's conducted himself with higher ups, the way he's talked to other wrestlers that have made it, the way that he is just like the way he carries himself, right? That guy's never been in a fight in his entire life. His dad was freaking 90210, like private school prep boy. You know what I mean? Like that guy has had everything handed to him. And now he's going to come out here and he's going to poke the bear. Like, what do you think is going to happen? You know, what do you think is going to happen? And then you got a guy like Tony Khan who's just refusing to put his foot down at any point in time. But he's got all these other people, you know, everybody's got a whole little piece of that pie over there. They're not letting go. You know what I mean? They all want their piece of the pie and they're never going to let go. You got all these lawyers and stuff that they see the power struggle going on, and Punk intimidates these people, whether you like what he does backstage or not. Like that guy is going to walk in there and tell people exactly how he feels, the way he feels, when he feels it. And he doesn't back down from any confrontation with these people. And if you're pushing, you know, you're feeling froggy, you're going to leap. He's right there. And all these guys, they all want to push up to that point and then have somebody pull them back. Push up to that point, have somebody pull them back, because they want the appearance of being tough guys, the appearance of being real men. But none of them want to get their hands dirty, like you say, chop wood, carry water. And it's like this was just inevitable. It was going to happen because you had him back there who was, when it happens, he's going to step to it and he's going to handle the conflict, whether people like Phil or not. Like, he is not a stranger to conflict and controversy. So he dives right into it. A lot of other people, they're going to tuck their tail between their legs. They're going to stick their head in the sand. They're going to walk the other way, you know, turn the other cheek, whatnot. He's running right into it, head-on collision, you know, pun intended, every single time. Mm-hmm. And that's what we got now. We're at that point where you got these two different walks of life they're colliding, no pun intended. And you got Tony, he had to make a decision, which clearly I don't even think was his decision. And he's being forced to do something that his lawyers are telling him that he's going to have to do, because who knows who, like they're going home with at the Hilton, and who they're hearing things from. And the whole thing's incestuous and just ridiculous at this point. And part of me, I never thought I'd say I feel bad for CM Punk, but I kind of feel bad for CM Punk. He really is dealing with a bunch of fucking children, And
it seems like the way he handles it always, and phenomenal points as well. Always, John. What a great monologue that was. We need to make sure you're on pre-workout all the fucking time.
Yeah, Redcon, brother.
Definitely. Nice.
350 milligrams of caffeine.
And you're spot on with so many things. I mean, even from the iPod generation, and if they're that, then I'm auto reverse on the tape, and the vet is 8-second anti-shock on your CD player,
Mm-hmm.
and it is that instant gratification in that Southern California. Be cool, bro. Like we want to act like tough guys. We're not. And then you fuck around with a Chicago or a New York dude who doesn't have that. And now things are about to get explosive, right? And you got a billionaire who never has been in any situation where he'd have to stand up and throw down, because he's been, wearing diapers his whole life that are lined with dollar bills pretty much. So definitely a perfect storm of all the most combustible elements of everybody trying to act tough. And then Punk, even though he might be able to throw down, he's his own worst enemy in these conflicts of wanting to be a locker room leader but not knowing how to no sell. And is there a conspiracy inside of everything with the Bucks saying, hey, Jungle Boy, needle him, hey, Ziggler or Nemeth, needle them. We can't do it, and sending their boys to get over to do that. Is that going on? Nobody's really pointed that out yet.
I heard the meeting thing was 100% true. I knew it. I heard that the meeting thing was supposed to be going down basically the day of the meeting thing when it got blown off, and that he was hot about it getting blown off, and was just like, I'm just trying to do the right thing here and sit these people down, which, of all people, you're like, CM Punk is being the adult here. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, them pulling away from it and doing that move, is that a calculated move? Like, yeah, we're going to do it. Never mind. They just keep poking him until they know he's going to go off. And then they have Jungle Boy, hey, dude, rib him on fucking camera and watch him fucking lose it. Like, is that going down there? That type of little maniacal shit, man.
Of course it is.
Yeah, wise man once told me, and this wise man, there's no such thing as coincidences, right?
Yeah, right, dude. Yeah, it's interesting there. And another story, I think the discipline committee is my favorite thing. I'm working on some discipline committee shirts for ProWrestlingTees.com / Ben Amin this week. Whoever that is to hand it down. But I'm kind of with you on a couple things of like, does he handle it the right way? No. Does he pick soft targets? Absolutely. I've seen him do that since OVW. That's the problem. He picks people he thinks he can easily go over on, and it's a bad look when you say you want to step outside, and the guy's like, no. There's plenty of dudes be like, sure, let's go outside and see what happens. But then Khan's, nobody is there to help Big Brother Khan. And, I think that whether it's a discipline committee or not, even Russo tweeted, you need somebody to be the heavy. Of course, I'll put myself over and retweet that, even, because that he does need someone of my ilk who's worked with all these guys before and ain't going to put up with no bullshit. And I'll stomp anybody, with $10,000 fines for fun, just to fucking make an exception out of people. So, or make an example, not exception, an example out of people, so nobody else dare sticks their head up to get whack-a-mole. And nobody's stopping Khan from doing this because did no one have the foresight that he's going to walk out in Chicago and get booed to the fucking hilt about what's going on from these passionate fans? And then word was he went backstage and cried afterwards. Now you're the boss and you're crying in front of the fucking locker room in Gorilla, bro. So everyone can go, oh, it's not your fault. It's this guy and try and pat. Dude, the real men in the room are looking at each other like, we're fucked. We hit the Titanic and we are going down, taking on water, boys. Better go grab some doors, whatever the fuck you can make to make a ship, because this is not there's no faith in leadership when you see that kind of shit, you know? Like literally you're being led through the jungles in Vietnam and your fucking sergeant starts having a breakdown and crying. I'm sure it happens, but this is not the time to do it.
Yeah, I mean, Vet, how much longer do you think you can keep this afloat if you're Tony Khan? If you got a situation like that, like there's no way to send it back up, right? Like it's only going one way.
As long as you want.
Yeah,
if you have money, as long as you want, because everybody else that's done this, else has done this has done it depending on it as a business to keep them afloat. He doesn't have to do good business to keep it afloat. He can keep it afloat as long as he wants to keep it afloat. And he's probably not crying just because a bunch of women called him a pussy. He's probably crying because of the whole situation, everything that happened, and the fact that he had to fire somebody that he didn't want to because he dragged him out of retirement. So this is the last thing that he wanted to do. But good morning, Von Lilas.
It feels like
we need real men.
In on this thing?
Yeah. Yeah, you're in.
Speaking to the mic, Von Lilas. Talking to the mic.
This thing on? I thought you had to allow me in. Am I in?
You're in. You're on air right now, Dad.
Oh, so early in the morning. How do you guys get up this early on a holiday day after 3 days of partying and drinking and all that kind of stuff? You guys get up this early, huh?
Yeah, well, we're 33 strong on the live chat right now. Shout out to all the Masons out there, and thanks, Vaughn, for making it. I know it's early. I mean, I think you're even a time zone behind us. I'm not sure if you're East Coast time in Indiana, but
East Coast, baby.
You're the
East
closest
Coast.
one. Are you? I say you're the closest one to Chicago right now.
I wanted to listen a little bit, see where you guys stood on this stuff before you let me in. Can we agree? Is Tony in over his head? Has anybody figured that out yet?
Oh, yeah, dude. I mean, how can you never have been a captain of a team? I don't care if you're an analytics guy for Jacksonville. If you're not the dude who's used to running the show and now you're put in this position, he's crying backstage. Like, to me, you know what that felt like? He took his CM Punk action figure to the lake and it fell over the side of the boat and he's a little kid crying that he's never going to get it back again. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it feels like to me of having to do this type of shit, man, instead of all of this was coming because they never nipped it in the bud from the first one. They never paid off the business in the ring for the fans. They gave him his own show. He got to pick his own Cool Kids Cobra Kai Part 2. He used FTR to the podcast to disseminate no one's going to be smart to that. We'd never see that coming. We never see House of Black punching walls out of anger because of how CM Punk's being treated. It's the same WWE OVW clicked up shit to make himself feel like a king. However, John, you weren't wrong in what you were saying. All of these catalysts that people keep pissing him off with are shoot things to get pissed off about, but people are just waiting to see if he no-sells or not, and he never no-sells. And that's what's led to this point. You know what I mean? And a no-sell would show that you are the locker room leader, that you're not going to be brought down by little annoying fucking mosquitoes, right? Or whatever the fuck, that you are King Kong and nobody can dethrone you. So I don't know, man. I don't see a way forward that's going to be like, now we're going to get back over 1 million, man, because now with Punk on, that's going to chop about 10% of your crowd. And now will they be settling around 600, 700,000 viewers?
And just because you chopped his head off doesn't mean you killed the whole freaking snake, right? Like, you still have the House of Black in there, Punk guys. You still got the whole FTR, Mr. Monopoly guy is a Punk guy. Those guys are not if you're part of that Cobra Kai clip,
Andrade putting something out this morning. Yeah,
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, Andrade putting shit this morning. I mean, ask these guys about Cobra. I mean, I think I was Cobra Kai adjacent because I was down. But when you're talking about at the time, it was fucking Ace, Mercury, Cliff Compton, Cody, and who else was one of the more Mike Cruel, who was a throat cutter supreme. Like there was a clique in OVW, and now all those guys are apart except for Ace and Punk, really. And Ace was about the only one I would stick my neck out for and go, he's the only one who acts like a real man most of the time compared to the rest of them who all got their own weird issues, bro. So they all turned on each other, and the same shit is happening. It will happen here with, hey, we're with Punk, House of Black, and all that shit, dude. He will chop them up. 10 years from now, it'll be FTR and Punk hate each other, just like it is Cabana and fucking Punk now, dude.
But what's going to happen right now with the Civil War just taking over in that locker room? What's the throat cutting in there looking like today?
I don't know. Hey, did any of you guys watch All Out?
No,
I didn't think so.
Wait,
well,
was that
guess what?
last night or last week?
Yeah. Last night, the show in Chicago, right after CM Punk gets fired, the one where Tony Khan was crying in the back. You know what happened on that show? They had a show. It was 4 hours, and the crowd was with it the whole time. Yeah, they chanted some stuff here and there, but they were into the matches. They were into the main event. They were into pretty much everything. So, it's just us talking about this stuff like what we think should happen or we would expect to happen. But in the end of the day, like, these people need jobs, and it's going to be business as usual, and they'll deal with it the way they've dealt with it for the past year. Like, people have always been in different camps, and sometimes you're cool with a person, but you're also cool with other people. Like, FTR is working with the Bucks. We know they're Punk guys, but they are working with them, and if the Bucks are working with them, then that means that they must be kind of cool. Like, well, hey, look, nothing personal ever happened between us. So there's going to be a lot of that too. There's going to be a lot of people that are like, oh, well, that's unfortunate, but I mean, they had no heat with me. So they're going to keep collecting their checks and doing their job and everything like that. And yeah, some stuff's going to happen. Of course, stuff's always going to happen. But I don't think it's going to be immediate, disaster like right off the bat.
So the crowd was good. They didn't sabotage. How were they in that Young Bucks match? They didn't CM Punk chants, nothing like that.
They probably did. I didn't listen that closely to every single match on the show. I kind of had it on the background, but I mean, from what I heard, it didn't ruin the show. Maybe somebody else in the chat can give any details or what they thought. But
well, they said Collision the night before sold 4,000 tickets, and when Punk came there, I think the first time they sold 12,000 tickets. So
oh wow,
that's quite the decrease in what is that?
Sure.
When did Punk debut? Year or 2 years? 4,000 tickets in Chicago.
About 2 years, right?
I mean, shit. I know it's the night before.
And they beat the shit out of that town, though. But I mean, they've pimped that town out. That's like running E-Town every weekend for us, right? Like,
you're right.
Like now there's nothing left, and now your main draw is on the shelf, and you're not giving them anybody else that's Chicago made. So and then the Bucks are taking a victory lap or what have you. And even last night with the debut of Lana, that Miro and Hobbs, like I'm going, this is where we should have been 2 years ago. These guys are the fucking draws. Like, look at the size of them compared to the children that you keep trying to feed us Adam Cole in a main event. Look at those two fuckers. You see the money, and it's just kind of buried in the middle. And shuffled in when that should be the spotlight of where we absolutely should have gone. Houses down. I don't see it going up there, man. I mean, they might continue to try and do business, but I don't know how you really course correct here. Another piece that is interesting to this is Cody leaving for WWE and saying that he had a personal issue with somebody. And I heard in some recap that Cody was the one that was supposed to reach out to Punk, and Punk got pissed off like he does about being texted offers before he signed. I don't know. Cody has said, I left because of a personal issue, and we've never heard what that is. Is that Punk's coming? I'm going. And then the other stooge report is that the first day he got there, he refused to shake William Regal's hand because he's a Triple H stooge, which, again, Punk's not wrong in these things. It's how he deals with them that instantly causes a huge ripple effect of what the fuck, as opposed to smiling, shaking hands, and doing da-da-da-da. Or guys show up to Collision, Phil's show, and we haven't fixed the problem, and his bad behavior's been empowered. So Matt Hardy, Nemeth, you guys get the fuck out of here. Chris Daniels, go home. Da-da-da. Like, he's the guy to call those shots now. You knew it was only a matter of time. And it doesn't matter if it's Jack Perry doing his dumb shit. Again, something he shouldn't have done. Is it a conspiracy that he was told to do that from the discipline committee to poke the bear? I don't know, but Punk no selling it should be the fucking answer to the problem. Instead, now we're hearing there's tape. How long do the videotape leaks that, Khan saying these crazy things? I've never had to fear for my life at a wrestling show and da-da-da. That Punk went at him and called him, motherfucked him, and said he's quitting. Like, how hardcore did this get backstage? And again, this is the top guy losing his shit in Gorilla after being WWE top guy. You got to know, like, how to be a better throat cutter than this by this time, no?
So I heard as that was going down, the exact words in Gorilla while Perry was saying what he was saying was, Jack's fired. And then what happened, I don't think Jack's fired anymore. It's just such a weird thing, right?
Well,
like, audibly,
he's indefinitely suspended, right?
Yeah, audibly, like, from what I heard was, if Punk didn't confront him and get physical with him, it would have just been Jack right then and there. But as soon as Punk let it fly, all bets were off, and then he ended up taking all the heat, right? So, like, I see Jack Perry coming back after all this. He's gonna end up having his spot still on the roster. But Tony being in fear for his life, I mean, come on, man.
Well, I mean, the artist returns. That's a great point.
He's a pillar.
He is a pillar. He is a pillar of this company. So, I mean, that's
Tony's a pill.
What are you thinking about that gorilla position? Yeah, pill. He's a pillar, all right.
He's gonna have a few extra pills.
What do you think about that behavior in gorilla position, especially if you know? Yeah.
Especially if you know.
Oh, sorry, I don't know if you heard me. I was say that. Yeah, if you know that you got this guy by the balls and he's going to get fired, and you still go in and get your shit in and throw a temper tantrum. If anything, when that happened, I would have looked over at Tony and gone, fire him as soon as he gets back through, So
that's what I was surprised about, because
these reactions are about.
That's what I was surprised about, because it's the biggest surprise for me was that he bit. He should have known what was happening. Like it's not just a case. I made this analogy on Wreckage, but it's not just a case of poking the bear. It's like jumping down in the bear pit at the zoo, poking the bear, poking the bear, poking the bear, poking the bear. The bear mauls you, and then they have to take. They have to put the bear down. So they shoot the bear dead in the pit where he had no chance. You know what I mean? Like there's no get back for the bear. He just he that's it. So but the gorilla position is the perfect time. Because Perry's jacked up on adrenaline from his match. Punk's psyching himself up for the match. That's when it's going to be the most combustible. Like, this whole shit had to be set up almost, And I think they've tried to set it up in the past. Like you said, Ben, with Nemeth or any of the other shit that perhaps didn't work. And you're talking about him no-selling it, and how much of that was no-sold. But how much can you continue to no-sell? Like, you just can't take it. You yourself seem to have a very low tolerance for this kind of thing, and you're always threatening physical violence. Now, when physical violence happens, you see what's the result. Like, this is what the plan was. And it's, it's like John said about, like, the tattletales and the generation, at least back in the day, you had to actually go and tattle to the teacher. Now you could just text the teacher, I guess. So at least Jack Perry had the fortitude to get in his face and take whatever was coming to him. But if that backfired, like if he went up and Punk was just like, get this mark out of my face, and just went and had his match like he was supposed to, then it would have been, on to plan C or D or E until whatever would have happened, That's what I think.
Yeah.
You know,
until
too, man,
somebody
like you said
triggered him,
before.
it was always gonna it was always gonna be.
Yeah, you said it
Go ahead.
before. Like he picks his targets and he knows which ones he can get over on, right? And it's like that
Mhm.
guy, the little
Mhm.
preppy freaking Beverly Hills kid. Of course he's gonna get over on that guy. You know, so like when he came through, it'd be
Sure.
different, obviously, if it was Hobbs or Miro, you know, out there looking into
Yeah.
the camera and then coming
It-
back through.
it never
Gorilla.
is.
But
that,
those,
right?
but those
And
are
that's-
two
that's
of
the
his
same with
guys,
Von
though.
Liles.
That's the
Right.
difference.
Right. Like I was just throwing names in there because they're fucking
Right, right.
monsters. But like
Yeah, all the monsters are
Come on.
friends with Punk, right?
yeah,
Like,
if Big Daddy Von Liles came
that's
through
not by
freaking-
that's not by mistake, right?
right,
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Like if it was
That's not
Vaughn
by
coming through
mistake
the
that he
curtain-
surrounds himself with guys like that. Yeah.
No,
I think the
yeah.
truth is always somewhere in the middle for starters.
mhm,
I don't think
mhm.
Tony Khan really even knows what it means to have his life like in jeopardy. I think things 30 years ago were 10 times worse than probably what happened last night. But
Mhm.
just the way society is today, everybody's so soft. Now all of a sudden, oh, I feared for my life because he gave me a dirty look or he said, fuck you or whatever. I mean, 30 years ago probably would have been 10, like I said, 10 times worse, and you would have never heard anything about it. Plus, I think that Punk or whoever the top guy was then probably would have had some of his boys taking care of it. So it wouldn't have had to be Punk, probably. Let's say, just throw Hogan out there as a name. Maybe none of this ever happened, but there was probably other people taking care of Hogan's, let's call it light work or whatever, I would think.
Mhm.
Sure.
Punk, does he handle everything right? No, at all. But I think he was probably also sabotaged from the beginning. There were people, I think maybe that's what Vet was alluding to, that didn't want this to work out from the beginning. He has been poked. Does he always act right? No, but I mean, I think the whole thing was sabotaged from the beginning. And somebody in the comments said Punk wanted to get fired. I don't doubt that either. I think Punk's just over the whole damn thing. Like he's not been happy. He was not happy in WWE. He's not been happy here at AEW. He's a hard person to please. I'm not sure he just wanted out. People wanted him out, and here we are. They all got, I think, what they probably wanted, is what I think.
How about even the thing where they didn't even
So
pick the
take
guy
your
up from
fucking
the
millions
airport?
and go on.
They didn't even pick him up from the
right?
airport.
All
Your top
that
guy.
too. That-
I was just
Yeah.
there, dude. That airport
Who
is
and
a
who made
goddamn
the
fucking
call
mess.
to cancel that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't get an Uber from there. Everybody's like, just get an Uber. You can't get an Uber from there. You can't. You have to take the train. And then while I was there, the trains were on strike, so it was even worse. Like, but we had a driver because UFC takes care of their top guys, you know, unlike AEW. And like, how do you send your top guy to the biggest show that you're ever gonna have, and he's got to ride with the marks on the freaking on the train? And like that,
Sabotage. That's what I said.
yeah, come on, man.
What
That's
if the
not a
car
mistake.
what if the car was canceled? What if the car was canceled by somebody
100%.
in
100%.
the elite? You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, you can't put any of that past them because all the guys that end up booking all that stuff back there are their guys, right? So it's like once again, to quote the man, there's no such thing as coincidences, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't think that
Von
just
Liles
happened.
is a spot picker, just like Punk. He would chop the shit out of everybody else except for the top guys. He would fucking light everybody else up.
Oh,
So he
sure.
knows
Yeah, I
very
never
well
go after the
exactly
top
what's
guys.
going
That's
on here.
stupid. Yeah. I mean, I did take Joey Mercury
yeah,
down
man,
in the locker room one day.
That's true. That's true.
But that was all
and,
for
I,
fun,
and,
though.
and me and I, well, I had to break it up with Ali and Compton. That was fun too, but not for fun.
I remember like me and Jamin
yeah, man,
got
what do you
into
guys-
it in the back one time. Me and
Yeah.
Jamin Olivencia got into it, and people had to break it up. It was just no real big deal. It happened, and then we were
Mhm.
over it in about 5 minutes, and that was that. I mean, shit like that happens, I think.
To your point, 30 years ago, Vaughn, like someone would have just waved a gun in the locker room too. Like that shit was happening.
That's it.
Like it ain't- you know, a simple front face lock was nothing in the 80s. You had people walking in with guns, just like a matter of fact. Like, look, here's my gun. All right, anybody has a problem? That's just how it was. It's a known thing.
And that's
But
why
these
shit
guys
didn't
don't know
jump
about
off.
it.
That's why. Yeah,
Right.
They
that's
still
why
do.
shit
Be
didn't
honest,
jump
it all
off
starts at
either.
the top.
I don't go
Compared
into a
Vince
locker room
McMahon
without
to
my
Tony
9mm.
Khan. This shit
I
ain't
don't go there.
happening under
Yeah.
Vince's umbrella. That even if
No.
it does, it's not getting out there. People aren't getting fired. You don't know about it if it does. It's Tony Khan, Vince McMahon. It's two totally different leaders and how shit happens. Tony Khan is everybody else runs that play. It's a zoo, man. That's all it is. It's a zoo. So.
Yeah, I mean, and it's all the fanboys versus a guy who made himself out of the trailer park, who's a major carny who had no money and came up and did it all, as opposed to having it all being handed to you and you're just playing in your toy box and you get to decide who's hot and who's not this week. And one year records matter, and then the next year we're doing mimosa matches or whatever the fuck. What do you think about that, Von, with the going up to Regal day one and doing the kind of spit in your face? But meanwhile, Blackpool Combat Club is, a thing at that time. I think some of the best AEW botches clips have been these like Punk on commentary. Well, if you got a problem with Jungle Boy, really the problem's with you. Or Moxley going, hey, enjoy him while he's here because fragile body, fragile ego. He's not going to be here for very long. Like the writing was on the wall a year and a half ago, right? With some of these clips that can be revisited out of context. Very interesting. But to not have the wherewithal to be like, I'm just going to babyface Regal, even if I fucking do hate him and hate Triple H or whatever. So when the report gets back to Triple H, how was he? Oh, he was nice, just like any other locker room, but I don't trust him, as opposed to creating an incident for himself right there. That's always a strange choice to me, Von.
Now, number one, we're assuming that's true. We're assuming the Stooge reports are true. And
yeah, right. That's
really
just
happened.
From the sheets. Right.
If it did happen, no, I don't agree with that at all. I think you always respect the guys that came before you, whether you think they're a Stooge or not. Like you said, you could handle it totally different. You still just shake his hand. That doesn't mean you necessarily have to trust him. Punk may think that Regal's going back to WWE, and he doesn't want to maybe fill him in on everything he's doing. Or if your ultimate goal is to get back to WWE, then you just kiss his ass. He's a Triple H Stooge. So you show how good you are and behaving so well and talking good to him about the WWE or whatever, just to get back in good graces with Triple H. So Punk's a different dude, though, man. Like I said, I don't agree with everything he does. He's just a different guy. And how long ago was the pipe bomb? 8 years, 10 years ago? He's still doing the same type of
Longer
shit.
than that, yeah.
He's still in the mainstream wrestling media, still making probably millions of dollars because of how he acts. I mean, we're still talking about him right now today after however long he's been doing the same shit. Now, I know he was away from wrestling for, a long period of time during that, but that's how Punk's made his name, by doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, he's been more relevant outside the ring than he's been inside the ring.
No, you're not wrong. I'm just shocked.
No, I hate that you would do that to William Regal. I think it's bullshit. I don't think that's. I would never. No, I think if that's true, no, I think it's bullshit. I don't think you do that to William Regal. I mean,
you shouldn't really do that to anybody. You know what I mean? Whether they've made it in the business or not. You know what I mean? Like whether you like the person or not. Like
true.
The guy's a 60-year-old man.
Doing it to William Regal and doing it to me or.
Two different things. Once again, he picked his target, right? And he analyzed his situation, and he felt like there was going to be no retribution in the situation other than him being called a dick, which is the kind of publicity he wants. So it's like, what you're getting out of the guy. You know what I mean? And like the people that set him up knew exactly what they're getting at. He's very predictable. It's not like he's unpredictable at all. Every move can be plotted out easily and mapped. So,
I mean, I've actually wrestled CM Punk.
It's moves like that, though, that he's been in this mafia long enough.
I know it was a long time ago, but I wrestled him. We did a Six Flags, a tag match with him and Mercury. And I remember he came in and he didn't really talk to any of us, but he had to go out and do all those autograph signings and stuff like that. So he was distant from, the locker room, but he wasn't a dick. But he just came in and he was kind of arrogant. He was like, hey, you know all my shit, right? And I was like, and APOC was like, I'll take all his stuff because he knew I didn't. He knew I didn't have a clue. Punk's like, you know all my shit, right? I'm like, and APOC's like, I got it. You just take Joey. You go with Joey. And I was like, all right. So we talked like 5 minutes and that was it. But then after the match, I do remember he called APOC. He said he was green. I know that pissed him off after the match. But I had chopped him, and everybody was like,
I remember that.
Chop
Wow.
CM Punk? Are you going to chop CM Punk? I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going to chop him. So I only did it once, but it was a good, loud one. It's all it was needed. And he said after the match, he said, I'm glad you chopped me. He said, I wasn't going to say anything to you beforehand, one way or the other. I just wanted to see if you would do it. I was like, yeah, well, yeah, I was going to do it. He's like, good. I'm glad you did it. And that's all he said to me. So,
Yeah.
he was fine, you know.
Yeah,
That might be one of the only things he understands. Though.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Well, he shook your hand, right, Vaughn? I mean, come on.
Oh, he did. I was no William Regal, you know.
I mean, he shake? He shook all of our hands, right? Raise your hand if you shake a CM Punk's hand.
Yeah, I think he was nice enough, you know. But again, that was probably, what was that, 15 years ago? Lots happened in 15 years.
Yeah,
but I do also think it's weird that a guy looking like Punk, I know it's a different business now, but I still think of like Hulk Hogan. And now you've said, Ben, a couple times, you know, CM Punk's the top guy in WWE, top guy in AEW. Again, 30 years ago, which isn't 30 years ago, I know that, but would he have ever been a top guy 30 years in the Hogan era, the Savage era, the Ric Flair
you bring up an
era?
interesting point. Like, sure he can get over with ROH cool kids and whatnot, but he parlayed that into being protected, and he still is, by Cornette, by Danny, and by Paul Heyman. And even when you listen to Cornette's rants on, it's apparent to me that MJF is hitting up Cornette based on how Cornette is putting over these stupid fucking things with Adam Cole. Like that, you know, Cornette's not going hard on him like he should, and that he's probably some type of consultant, allegedly. And
he actually has turned on him a little bit here lately.
A little, but there's things in that match, that main event, he should have just shit all over, where he did smiley guy, and I can just tell like that they're talking. And the same thing goes with Punk, how he'll bury Tony and Jack Perry, but Punk can do no wrong because he's the fucking draw. Why is he the draw? That's the point of top brass. He politic to them for some reason, or just because he can come and do a 6-man post TV at OVW and you know the house is going to be full. That's what Danny wants, to sell all 450 seats, right? So that's why he's over, not because of any reason of him being a good guy. But how did he get to that point? OVW management, Paul Heyman, and Jim Cornette backing him. And I don't understand anything past that, because physically, I say fucking let's go outside 10 out of 10 times. I'm betting on myself on that one, bro. You know, so that, and then surrounding himself with big monsters or over guys. Oh, you got something to say? What Vladimir Kozlov had to say about that? Let's find out. Like, it's the same shit over and over again, while burning people that he could just leave behind. Because I worked with all his indie buddies who came up with him in Chicago, and he shit all over them and threw them right on the fucking fire with no problem to move on, bro. And then does it with, he makes the Cobra Kai click. They're all fucking gone. On to the next squad like that. It's a very, like not chop wood, carry water, very exposing of the man he should be but isn't. And we all have things that are in our lives that make us who we are, and I think that's where this shit shines through more than anything else. Has he made the money? Yeah, but why do these guys keep protecting him just because you say I'm the best in the world? But and a lot of times I'm saying that at OVW, I go, you're not even the best in the room. You're the best in the world. He's better than you. Jamin's better than you. He's better than you. Yeah.
Ben, and every top guy ever has done what you're saying. That has no bearing on the situation.
Yeah, but
Hogan has done it. Flair has done it. Michaels has done it. Like, everybody surrounds himself with guys, and they do their level of politicking to be at the top that you don't get to be. Nobody's just an aw shucks top guy. Like, they all fucking do that and always have. And for some reason, I don't know why, because it was a surprise to me, but for some strange reason, people really like CM Punk. Like, a lot of people like him. I didn't get it when he was doing those promos, when he was getting ready to be in ECW, the revival of ECW, and doing those promos, and like we'd seen him at OVW, and then he's getting ready to make his ECW debut, and he's telling everybody I'm straight edge and I'm better than you and all this other shit, these heelish promos, and then he comes out and gets like a reaction from the guys that are like, they always say like, it doesn't matter what you did before you got here. You gotta prove it to us. And the WWE people seemed like they knew who he was and they liked him. And I was kind of surprised at the reception that he got and continued to get. And he made it because the people liked him. It doesn't matter all the politicking he did. If people didn't like him, he wouldn't be shit. But for some reason, he connects to people in a certain way. There's people that really like his attitude or his perceived attitude, whatever that is. I don't know why anybody likes who they like. It seems ridiculous in hindsight that anybody would like Hulk Hogan because he's so cartoonish and ridiculous. But if you catch somebody at the right age in the right era or whatever, and they'll just never let go of that loyalty. Flair, same thing. It's every top guy has had that, all the things you said, but the people have always gotten behind them for whatever reason. And that is the reason why they continue to be top guys.
You make a great point there, Vet, in the fact of Hogan and Flair being a larger than life limousine riding. That was Brat Pack. You're either a grease or a Soch, a scumbag or a fucking Wall Street guy. And in the 90s, when he was coming up, right, and iPod generation, it becomes anime, fucking go-go gadget, fucking Power Ranger, pussy ass shit, and that whole generation of man children relate to him. But as opposed to, I want to be fucking big, jacked up, and rich. This is, I'm going to get shitty tattoos of brands that are ironically funny, and I'll act like I'm a biker, but I'm not really a biker. I'll act like a skateboarder, but I'm not really a skateboarder. And that's their entire persona of going to Zoomies at the fucking mall and buying some skate clothes and thinking that they're over as an alternative motherfucker in 2002. That pretty much embodies everything of fake Chicago comics on Belmont that is everything around there. This poser style. And that's why I think they relate to him, because there's nothing genuine that I want to live vicariously through to be like, I need to be more like him in Wicker Park at the dog park. Like, none of that is fucking real to me, bro. And I can't relate to it, but I was raised around lumberjacks. So, yes. But look at this, man. The Vet, Von Lilas, and Johnny Publix all here in the Monday locker room as we're 58 strong here live. Ben Hameen YouTube channel. I appreciate the super stickers and chats and bits and subscribers and everything else we got going on, man. I don't know. Tony Khan crying is rough. Jack Perry suspended indefinitely. Here's one. Christian Cage says he's re-signed to AEW to a big fat contract, but he won't comment on Edge rumors. Interesting. I mean, a lot of people with Edge's apparent last match in Toronto on SmackDown, I thought it was a great match. And you were wondering why, I was wondering why it didn't go down at SummerSlam, but he went out that way. Do you guys think Edge is going to jump ship over there? We said earlier, how many major cards can you play there or have people show up to do that? So now with Punk going, Edge might have gone, I want 5 million. Now I want 10 million. It's like, if anybody could benefit from this, it's Edge's bank account right here.
Yeah. I mean, I would set the line at minus 200 that Edge shows up. I would say it's favorable at this point.
Okay.
And like, just knowing how workers are, like you saw Vaughn right away, like money talks, bullshit walks, right? Like, no matter what WWE has done for him in the past, he still has to think about his future, right? And his kids and his family. And if he can make that money right now, bro, go make that money, bro. You know, like WWE, like Vince McMahon, it's great that they've done what they've done for you so far. But if you're getting 5 to 8 to 10 million to go over there and play as one of Tony Khan's freaking shiny new toys, dude, what are you waiting for? Sign that paper, get your ass going, and just watch the check freaking clear, and you're good. Like, once that check clears, you're good, right? Like, I don't see any reason, unless it's something physically, where watching the last match he had, he physically looked like he could still go. Like, and even if it's not, like, there's guys over there making checks that they're not even wrestling. So I just don't see how he doesn't end up over there at this point, and that there's not a point where Tony just says, name your number, right? Because that's what it is at this point.
Anybody know what the WWE offer was to him? Supposedly they offered him a contract, right? Isn't that what he said in his little video he put on Twitter? He said he had a contract. I thought he said he had an offer in his mailbox.
He said it's in his inbox. Yeah.
But nobody said a number on that or a year on that or whatever.
So nobody know. I don't think anybody said what it is. I mean, Stevie's put over that fucks with his mailbox money going over there, all the residuals and stuff. And, they can F with you 15 ways to Sunday. And now with the Endeavor takeover, the check could just get lost in the mail, right, of what happened. So, with other, I would say comparatively, what have other guys signed for? And then the Young Bucks making that NBA money and you don't want them to go. But then at the end of the day, Vince pulled this move in WCW. Yeah, go. You guys go. I can't pay you that. Go fucking suck out of their bank accounts for a while and watch it hurt the company when you don't get the return on the investment. But hey, you guys got rich and then you can come back here. So there is plenty of reason for him to not sign that could upset WWE. But at the same time, if you know that you can come in and pick the pockets and you just doubled your price because they need a crown jewel, I think that's the move too, man.
Yeah. Money talks, bullshit walks.
And John Cena back. Yeah, absolutely. Well, bullshit fucking talks a lot on this show as well. Looks like Bray Wyatt, he's still passed away. It looks like Darby Allin, his spine was really messed up from Wembley.
Surely not.
During the coffin drop. He came and did on the metal coffin and spine devastated, and then he wrestled last night. And this is another thing too, going to Payback, they're doing the whole Shinsuke Nakamura angle, which Shinsuke should have gone over, and definitely Owens and Zayn should have gone over. So they switched the heel finishes thinking they were smart with the swerve. So they spent a ton of money on doing badass animation for Shinsuke, doing the promos how they finally should have been done, and then not pay it off. Okay, good job, everybody, you fucking morons. But the fact that they had Seth in that match going, I have 2 fractures in my lumbar spine. Get out there and wrestle. Like, what the fuck? If guys got major spinal injuries and they're putting it in the storyline, you are now at fault, or you have to make it a non-sanctioned thing where we're not going to let him wrestle, but he's going out there and we can't be held accountable. Instead, WWE and AEW are now putting people out there with spinal fractures to go entertain.
Yeah, you only get one brain, you get one spine. I mean, at this point, they can give you an automatic freaking robot arm or leg, but until they do that with your neck, spine, and brain, like, I don't know how people don't take it more seriously, man. Like, I tell fighters this, I've told them that, like, bro, you don't get paid by the minute in fighting. You don't get paid by taking more damage. The paycheck's still the same. Get in there, get out of there, don't get hurt, right? Like, and that should be the name of the game of wrestling too. Like, get in there, tell your story, get out of there, don't get hurt. But I mean,
you're going old school, baby. Tape it up.
Yeah, real old school. I mean, but dude, old school guys never got hurt like this. Like they got hurt here and there, but not like this.
They didn't do coffin drops every.
That's because Junkyard Dog wasn't diving onto a coffin.
Junkyard
JYD would not be doing the coffin drop.
Junkyard Dog wasn't watching these shitty anime fights, and that's where, dude, when you said anime before, it triggered me because that's what I see. Like, a lot of these guys try to use as a blueprint or a template for a lot of their action sequences in these matches, and I'm just, dude, go get in a real fight. Go down to a bar, get in a real fight. Go down to a jiu-jitsu freaking school, get in a real fight. See how fast it takes for you to get choked out.
Go tell Punk to cry you a river.
Yeah, go tell Punk to cry you a river. It's not going to take 20 minutes. Nobody's going to flip. Nobody's jumping off of anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's out of control. Like, at one point, somebody in Darby Allin's life has given him the idea that, like, no, you're right. Like, jumping and killing yourself in these matches, it's the greatest story you could possibly tell, right? Like, you're reinforcing such negative habits, and it's like, where in any point in time in history, in any kind of real conflict, do you remember seeing Muhammad Ali do a coffin drop to Joe Frazier? Like, no. No, he didn't need to.
It was
Like I've never
high
seen a
spot
real
on
fight
that.
when a
They're all
Coffin
chanting,
dropped.
Yeah, but
"Ali,
let's
boom,
let's
yeah."
take Darby for instance. So he weighs what, $150 maybe? Would Darby
Yeah.
Allin ever be in this spot if he didn't do all that stuff? I mean, would he have ever been on national TV, even with Tony Khan's AEW, where he hires whoever he wants or whatever? Darby Allin, if he was just a normal dude doing normal stuff, he would have never been there. I think
No.
the coffin drop got him there. He feels like he has to continue to do that to keep up his persona or his whatever. If he just quits and becomes half-assed normal, then who's going to care?
But that's why nobody got hurt doing a Don
But he's
Morocco
not-
headlock. Because like when I saw Don Morocco put somebody in a headlock, I was like, yeah, they ain't getting out of that. Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, but they don't look the same. Darby Allin's not putting anybody in a headlock.
no, I know. And that's why you need guys like Hobbs and you need guys like that on television and not a Darby Allin. Like, dude, I'm
I'm not disagreeing with
180
that. I'm
pounds.
just saying that's how he got there. So now he
Yeah.
continues to work that way.
yeah, I'm 180 pounds, and like if they try to put me in those
But he
situations,
doesn't work for himself.
yeah. Yeah, the reality of the whole thing is you're just
He
putting
doesn't do
yourself-
anything for himself. The smart way to cash in on those bumps. He's a skateboarder. We just had the X Games. Did anybody see him at the X Games? Nope. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, whatever the fuck. Is he a downloadable patch for that? Nope. What is he good at? He went to film school. His pre-tape shit when he was directing it was very cool. It was like Breaking Bad on AEW. Do we do that and only protect him that way? Nope. So now he's out there with major spinal issues doing these spots, and people can go, he's 140 pounds. He's not believable at all, as opposed to all the things that could make him special, that he could have skate ramps and hang with pro skateboarders and all that shit and never really even have to be on the show. Everything could be protected. But this psychotic, I got to do my stuntman shit, thinking that there's not going to be any repercussions. This is probably my number one pick to watch a kid get stretchered out and maybe never be able to walk again, just off of some stupid rampage match based on compounding injuries. And to have it in the storyline that Seth's got 2 fucking fractures in his spine and that this other kid could barely walk, but he's like, no, I'm going out there. Like, that's not just Shivani on the mic trying to hype these guys up, because you can hear them. They're like, what the fuck are these guys doing? Even JR goes, yeah, this is a time where this kid should be taking some time off to get his spine right. Said it on commentary last night. And instead he's out there doing that, bro. That's such a major liability. I can't believe it's going down.
So a couple things.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Number one, Darby knows exactly what he's doing. You can he's got the creative aspect, like you said, Ben, with his vignettes. He can work when he wants to, and he does this other stuff, like Vaughn said, because he knows that that's one of the only ways he's going to be believable. So he cares about being believable, unlike the other guys who do all the same stuff that can't do the other things that he does. So you can have a Darby Allin on your show, but you can only have a Darby Allin on your show, and all the other guys that can't do what he can do and don't know how to work need to get the fuck out. That's number one. Number two, back in the day, guys were working hurt a lot and a lot worse sometimes than some of these guys. The difference was there was no guaranteed money. So like Vaughn said, tape it up. That's what they kind of had to do. And they got hurt doing nothing. Like, we think of Jerry Lawler as a great worker and a guy that got the most out of doing the least. He also got hit with a car on purpose, for an angle. So like, this shit again, once again, we think about history differently, but a lot of these guys are carrying forward things that were put in motion a long time ago. So that's a difference there, and it's important that we remember that.
Let the record show for this.
He didn't get road rash.
Well, Darby's got a second spine tattooed on his back too, so that should reinforce it a little bit, I would think.
Right. Let the record show at this gathering of the discipline committee, the notes at 1 hour and 8 minutes that the vet was right again. We'll wrap it up here, but this is this is interesting to me too, based on liability. And Bray Wyatt reportedly was already dealing with heart issues around the time he was released from WWE. Meltzer Seltzer's reporting. It was kept a secret from almost everyone as to the reason, but he had heart issues already. Multiple sources told us that off the record, noting that few were aware of it. Meltzer also stated the following when Wyatt's planned match against Bobby Lashley being pulled from WrestleMania 39. We reported as a health issue, although we were told off the record it was a serious case of COVID, but the expectation was that he'd be back. However, the COVID was serious enough that it caused even more damage to his heart. Canadian doctor Alex Patel explained how COVID can affect the heart. He says COVID has been known to cause severe heart inflammation that we call myocarditis. The condition is similar to what a lot of people are linking with the vaccine, but it's a magnitude more common with COVID itself. When you get inflammation of the heart, it can cause heart damage called cardiomyopathy. Cardiomyopathy, one, if it doesn't recover, can cause heart failure and leave you prone to arrhythmias and sudden cardiac death that can eventually result in the death. Yeah, man, obviously, and even in after the news breaks and you hear COVID, they're like, was he vaxxed? Everybody wants to go to that. And then people are like, no, he wasn't vaxxed. That's why he got fired. But COVID did this to his heart. But then he came back. So is there more stooge that he did get vaxxed to come back? And that's what it is. Like, you hate to drag anybody's name through the mud on this, and it's not his fault by any means, but the defibrillators in his car and, you know, this just plays into such a hot button health topic across the world, you know, and those who were let go, like Nia Jax, who also refused to get vaxxed and that type of stuff, man. I think there's more still to this to come out, unfortunately, of what happened or what isn't, and if there's going to be an autopsy, or will they try and keep the lid on that because they don't want more bad PR from it, possibly, as we head into pandemic 2 right now, where even today I saw on the CDC's website, somebody broke it down that if you are vaccinated, you're more likely to get the new strain of COVID because of it. It's just like, what do you even do, man? And how do you even live in this fucking world of trying to make sense of anything, of trusting anyone? As I mean, we're in a DTA world right now, Steve Austin style, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you hate to see things like this, man. From my personal experience with the guy, he went out of his way. There were some people, like when I did extra work for WWE, that could have cared less that the people were in the building. That guy went out of his way to make sure that he said hi to everybody in the building. He was very, very cool to the enhancement guys. Like, he didn't need to be that cool, and he was the over guy at that point. You know what I mean? Like, that was the peak of him being like top guy fiend and everything like that. He was a nice guy, man, you know, and like everything I've heard from people that I know too, interactions with him that knew him really well, were like, dude, the guy was a sweetheart and he was a good dude, you know. And it sucks when you see something like this, but it doesn't just happen by accident. You know what I'm saying? And like, I think a couple of things probably led to it. From what I had heard, it's just
with Luke Harper, you know.
Yeah, from what I had heard is that he wasn't vaxxed, and that's why he was released the first time. But he was also under a big contract, so that could be something that they used to try to renegotiate and bring him back at a cheaper rate. And I don't, you know. There's also things you could take that enhance the size of everything on you. You know what I mean? Like your organs, your muscles, your everything else. And it's when you're playing that game, it's dangerous, man.
And that's what I'm saying, without saying it, you know, when an autopsy comes back and his heart is 25% larger than it should have been, and because he's hanging with Triple H GH, you know what I mean? Like, all these things are the perfect storm of putting somebody out there, and him probably kayfabing it too, being told by cardiologists, you probably shouldn't do this, but then the addiction and the sickness and having 4 kids to take care of rears its ugly head, and they hang over your head. Hey, we'll write your brother into this and get him over too. Now you got a lot of pressure on you to do what you think you need to for your family, and they know that leverage. They're going to use it and lord it over you, dude. So, and I don't doubt that they're doing that kind of same shit with Seth, man. With his back. I will put over off Payback. I was blown away by Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus's opening cage match, dude. I thought it was the best match either woman had in their career, to be honest with you. I was going, I'm glad I'm not working this fucking match. No way would I be doing these spots, bro. And just stiff. Trish, major bruise on her forehead after taking the post. I remember I did that in my opener and was knocked out 30 seconds in, and that's a fun place to be in the middle of the ring. And you guys got anything else you want to do as I wrap up here of this official meeting of the Discipline Committee with all of the affiliates, man, from Johnny Publix to Wrestling with Rip Rogers, super producer, mega producer, Von Lilas, Hacha, and as always, my man, the vet here in the trenches at HMG. Von, what do you got going on, man?
So I'm on the Discipline Committee. I mean, that's what I was really wanting to be on. So that I am officially on the Discipline Committee, right?
Well,
I was reading the dirt sheets. I didn't see anybody's name mentioned on the Discipline Committee. They got rid of CM Punk, but I'm glad to know I'm on it. So, my vote counts, baby. I got nothing going on. Actually, I got something going on. I got a big announcement, man. We've got Gerald Briscoe coming on our show this week. We're gonna do a sit down with Gerald Briscoe on Friday. So, looking forward to that. I'm not gonna do it live with Gerald Briscoe and Rip. Just too much to do live. I'm going to do the tape version like I did with One Man Gang and put it out there that way. So really looking forward to sitting down with Gerald Briscoe.
Hell yeah, Briscoe Brothers, Florida royalty, huge, baby.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
That's huge. You guys make sure you're subscribing to Wrestling with Rip Rogers over there with great clips, great matches from the past that Von's putting up. I'll always love to check in and watch all of those, man. Please make sure Rip gets his leg checked out and taken care of, please.
That's a whole nother show, man.
I know, but I'm just asking you to, stay on him about it and do what needs to be done. I know you're the man there on the ground, dude. If I was there, I'd be happy to try and help. I'll just heat on him from afar. And Vet, what's going down with you this week, brother?
Well, since Lilas is here, I don't have to plug Wrestling with Rip Rogers like I always do, but I can say that I can say that you can, if you're watching live, you can check me out later tonight, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, for the Impact Attack, where I'll talk about the episode of Impact that I haven't watched yet because I put it off as long as possible because I can't stand it. But I always have a good time talking about it and having a good interaction with you guys on the show. Sometimes you guys make the show, so please stop by. Even if you don't care about Impact, you can have a good time regardless. And check out Ray and myself, Big Ray and myself, every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern for the Next Level Wrestling Review. Sometimes we have guests on there too. Nothing lined up. We've had Von Lilas on there. We've had John Hartnett on there, and it's always a good time. So check us out there. We'll talk about NXT, which I also hate, and then of course Stevie Richards in the chat. He's doing so much. Every time I look at his subscriber numbers for his wrestling analysis channel, they seem to have doubled from the last time I looked. So just exponential growth. It's crazy.
Some of that shit.
Hell
yep.
Yeah.
Well, he's just doing something that no one else is willing or able to do. Is why he's growing so quickly, because the people are just eating it up. So if you want to check out what he's got on Patreon for a little extra, it's different content than what you get on YouTube. So it's like you go subscribe to YouTube, get some free stuff, go on Patreon, tip him, and you'll get even more stuff. It's not just the same stuff early. I mean, sometimes there's a preview on YouTube, but definitely check out both. And thanks, Stevie, for everything that you're doing for the pro wrestling business. Sometimes people try to help the pro wrestling business and then they get fired by Tony Khan. So I'm glad somebody's out there able to do what they can.
If that's really Stevie in the chat, he put my mic over today, so I appreciate.
It's a wonderful
that.
mic.
Yeah, that stuff he's doing is awesome, man. I watched those clips. I had messaged Ben about how he gets away with the copyright on that, maybe taking the sound out or whatever. I do some reactions with Rip on ours as well. We take the sound out of work sometimes. We get dinged sometimes, but it never really affects our channel so far. So we like doing that reaction stuff too, but Stevie really breaks it down, man. He really gets into it, does the rewind over and over and over again and shows all that shit. It's awesome. I've checked out those episodes as well.
Yeah, high level
yeah,
production with the smart board and everything it takes to get those clips right, man. Stevie Richards Wrestling Analysis channel absolutely blowing up as another here in the Russo brand Hameen Media Group Wrestling with Rip Rogers. Cafe de Rene, great appearances on there this week. I enjoyed myself, and Stevie had a great one as well. So it's just awesome, all this synergy that we're all building together for all these platforms, man. And sharing guests, sharing intel, and having a good time, sharing some laughs with everybody we got here in the chat. Record breaker chat this morning up to 68. We almost made 69, John. Strong.
Nice.
Johnny Publix. Johnny Publix going to have to drink a whole nother Red Bull just to get his face shocked here again. Some more caffeine for the workout. I appreciate you hanging in the car in the hot Florida sun, my Lord. Johnny, what do you got going on, pal? Any you going to meet with Trump or anything like that this week with you and Colby Covington as always?
I got Stevie Richards Fitness on deck here in a couple minutes, so I'm gonna go hit that and get my workout in. We had to cancel on Getfeld this week. Tell you why off air, but it was kind of funny. And then, yeah, it looks like December 16th is what it's lining up, and you'll probably see me out there, T-Mobile, Las Vegas, main event. We'll be walking that aisle, winning that belt, doing it big, and yeah.
I might have to call in the favor for that one, Johnny. If things line up and I can get away from the dispensary at that time, I might have to. It's been something we wanted to do for a while to come on and check you guys out.
Oh, I got you. All you gotta do is say the word. Come on down. So, hell yeah.
Awesome, man. You guys have been so great just doing the last minute run-ins here on the Monday Locker Room Labor Day. I know everybody who listens to us, no matter what their gig is, we help them escape. And today, hopefully, you guys are getting to relax, put your feet up, and have Von Lawless lay some chops in on you. That's, I think, what most of you guys deserve more than anything. There it is, hot shot, daddy. But I'm Hacker Hameen, and I'll be here 200 feet below the ground, channelattitude.com, broadcasting live, HMG, here on YouTube, infidels. Phil, get at us. We'd love to have the exclusive interview, and you can say what you want and shoot bang bang here on channelattitude.com. YOLO.
You want to